Thank you, Mr. President. I come to the floor today, as I did yesterday and as I did last week, to talk about the economic and environmental disaster in the Gulf of Mexico and the lack of response by this government in dealing with this disaster. Everything that can be done should be done to stop this oil from coming on our beaches, from going into our coastal waterways, and for damaging our way of life in the Gulf Coast. I specifically come to the floor to talk about what's happening in my home state of Florida. For the last week, I've been making statements and questioning why there are not more skimmers off the coast of Florida. In fact, I've been asking for more skimmers to be sent to the Gulf of Mexico for many weeks now. But last week, actually a week ago today, I met with the President of the United States and Admiral Thad Allen, along with other state and local officials in Pensacola, to address this and many other issues concerning the response to the oil spill incident. At that time, we were told that there are 32 skimmers off the coast of Florida. Today, we are told there are 20. It makes no sense to me that there are not more skimmers. Admiral Allen has told us that there are 2,000 skimmers in the United States. We have heard reports of offers of foreign assistance of skimmers that are still under consideration or have been declined. Why are there not more skimmers in the Gulf of Mexico skimming up this oil before it comes onshore? The first issue I'd like to raise, Mr. President, is that we can't even get a straight number as to how many skimmers are off the coast of Florida. Mr. President, I have two documents which I'd like to have entered into the record. One is the Deepwater Horizon response of Monday, June 21st from the state of Florida. The second is the National Incident Command response for June 21st. That is from the Coast Guard.
Without objection.
The first of these, the Deepwater Horizon response from Monday, June 21st, says there are 20 skimmers off the coast of Florida. The second, from the National Incident Command, says that there are 108 off the coast of Florida. Last week, we had this same discrepancy between these two reports. We questioned the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard told us that the information contained in the National Incident Report was not, in fact, correct. So we can't, first of all, Mr. President, get a straight answer as to how many skimmers are currently off the coast of Florida, but it appears from the most reliable information that we have right now, and I'm still waiting to get a straight answer, is that there are only 20. 1% of the skimmers of the United States of America are off the coast of Florida, with the worst economic and environmental catastrophe looming off our shores. Huge swaths of water that are washing up tar balls all the way from Pensacola Beach now to Panama City, Florida. Mr. President, we got a briefing this morning today from the Navy and the Coast Guard. I want to thank Secretary Mabus of the Navy, who prepared and provided the Rear Admiral John Haley, as well as a captain from the Coast Guard and other folks from the Navy, to brief me on the status of what skimmers the Navy has and what are they doing in the Gulf of Mexico. We found out there are 23 naval skimmers. These are relatively small skimmers. They can fit on the back of a truck or be put on a train or be put in an airplane oftentimes, and that's how they were transported to the Gulf. But they are welcomed. We are happy they are there. There are 6 on the way, 29 skimmers total. There are another 35 skimmers that they would like to bring down, but they are under a category in this document called legally constrained. Now, what does that mean? That means that for some reason the law is prohibiting the Navy and the Coast Guard from getting these skimmers here. First of all, why hasn't this been waived? Why hasn't the President signed an executive order? Where's the sense of urgency 62 days into this to get these skimmers to the Gulf Coast? Now, we're going to look into what federal law may be prohibiting and legally constraining the Navy and the Coast Guard from getting these skimmers, and I will offer legislation, if need be, Mr. President, to waive that. I've already offered legislation to waive the Jones Act, which has been cited by some as a prohibition or perhaps an obstacle to bringing in skimmers from foreign countries. Now, let's talk about that issue. We know there's 2,000 skimmers in the United States, yet only 20, it appears, off the coast of Florida, if that's true, is in fact the correct information. We know that the Navy wants to bring an additional 35 skimmers, but they are legally constrained, and we have not yet undone that or secured those skimmers some 62 days after the oil started flowing. Let's talk about foreign offers of assistance. There was a State Department report last week. 17 countries had made 21 offers of assistance, and the Associated Press reported that they had not been responded to or been declined. More current information than that. State Department reports about 56 offers of assistance from 28 countries or international groups. Of the 56 offers of assistance, Mr. President, 5 have been accepted. 5. That includes Boom, people who could use the internet to send a message about navigation in the Gulf, and skimmers or skimming equipment. BP has accepted 3 offers of assistance, including booms and skimmers. 2 offers are categorized as unknown or declined. 46 offers are currently under consideration. Under consideration, 62 days into this incident. Where is the urgency? Where is the alacrity of the response to get this done and get these skimmers in the Gulf of Mexico? Mr. President, I have a document here, U.S. Department of State chart on Deepwater Horizon oil spill response, international offers of assistance from governments and international bodies, dated June 18th, 2010, which I ask be submitted for the record.
Without objection.
This document, Mr. President, goes through the various offers of assistance and what is the current status of the response. So you go to European Maritime Safety Agency, skimmers, under consideration. May 13th, the date of the offer. As of last Friday, no response. Republic of Korea, skimmers, under consideration. May 2nd, the offer is made. As of last Friday, no response. Sweden, April 30th, skimmers. More skimmers offered on the 15th of June, under consideration. No response. United Arab Emirates, skimmers, under consideration. Offer made May 10th. No response. Mr. President, why are we not welcoming all of these offers of assistance to bring these skimmers and put them in the Gulf of Mexico and suck up this oil? I want to show you, Mr. President, if I may, and have the American people see an example of an offer of assistance that was made to the United States. The ship here that we're looking at is from a company, a Dutch company called Dockwise. And the name of this vessel is the Swan. Now, unlike some of the skimmers that are being used and some of the ones being deployed by the Navy, which can be put on a train car or flown in an airplane to the location and are, although very welcomed, relatively small, this is a massive ship. A massive ship that could take in 20,000 tons of oil or oil-water mixture off of the water in the Gulf of Mexico. 20,000 tons. What happens is they rig this boat, it's really a ship, with the skimming equipment that hangs off the sides. So on May 7th, Dockwise, this Dutch company, offered the Swan to the United States of America. And the offer went under consideration. After 48 days, the offer for this massive ship with 20,000 tons of skimming capacity is still under consideration. But the ship's not available anymore because Dockwise now has employed the ship for other purposes because the United States government, from all the information that we have, never got back to them. Here's a Dutch company offering us a massive ship to do skimming, to take 20,000 tons of oil and water off of the top of the Gulf of Mexico, and the United States government doesn't return the phone call. They never hear whether or not we want the ship. People involved with the situation believe that the Swan was rejected due to Jones Act considerations, and that a similar vessel, the Sea Corps vessel named the Washington, was chosen instead. The Washington is an American-flagged vessel. Its capacity is 1,000 tons, 1/20th of the capacity of the Swan. Now look, I'm for America first. Why aren't we using both of them? There's plenty of oil to skim up. Use the American vessel, but don't fail to respond to the Dutch company that has this massive ship that could be skimming 20,000 as a 20,000-ton capacity. Why in the world would we not employ both? Mr. President, I could not be more frustrated with the lack of response. Could not be more frustrated with the lack of a sense of urgency from this administration in getting this job done. The people of my state of Florida are scared to death about this oil spill. When I was in Pensacola last week, I met with a woman who works at the pier on Pensacola Beach. And I asked her how things were going. She's a woman who serves food at the pier. And she said to me, well, it's been very harrowing for us. And I asked her, well, are people coming out to the beach? She said, yeah, people from North Florida are coming to the beach. And there are people who haven't been to the beach in a long time. And I said, well, why are they coming? She said they're coming to see the beach one last time. Coming to see the beach as if they were going to visit a friend who was on his or her deathbed. Because they don't believe that the beach will ever look the way they remember it looking. Why we are not deploying every available national asset, military asset, and accepting every offer of assistance from foreign countries is beyond belief, and it is not acceptable, Mr. President. And I'm going to continue to meet with the Coast Guard and the Navy, and when I see the President of the United States tomorrow at the White House, I'm going to raise this issue with him, and I'm going to do everything I can to keep clamoring for this. Because it is not acceptable that in this, the greatest country of the world, that our response would be this anemic.